folks, welcome to another episode here at Design for Newbies. I'm Riel, a Filipino product designer based here in Sydney, Australia. And for today's video, I'll do a little bit of, storytelling. And the story is basically about me. About how I became a product designer when I'm supposed to be a software engineer. So yes, you heard it right. I took computer science way back in uni. And maybe the question is, what made the switch? And how did I do the career shift? So in this video, I'll be giving like 5 chapters of my whole journey. And in each chapters, I want to share a little bit of takeaway of what I learned in those milestones in my life. So if you're going through the same thing, if you're in a transition phase, making the big jump, moving from, old degree to a new degree, then this might be for you. So just stick around and let's go. So in here, you should be able to see the outline or the chapters of my journey. The first one is the beginning, the first spark, the grind, showing your work, and 5th is a microshift. So in the beginning, I really don't know what I want to do. I actually applied to 3 different universities with very diverse degrees. I had landscape architecture, broadcast communications, I had like medical technology, psychology, and computer science. Nice lighting. Thank you, son. So here's the funny story. I shouldn't even be in computer science in the first place. It's just that in my university back then, University of Santo Tomas in Manila, Philippines, if it so happens that your entrance exam score didn't match the required grade for your chosen degree, then they will put you in what they call academic placement. It means that they're going to suggest to you different degree or programs which you can still apply for. So in my case, because I actually applied for medtech in psychology, and obviously I didn't pass, they gave me music, information systems, and education. And because I used to play in a band when I was in high school, it was a no-brainer. Music it is. So the reservation day came, wherein you have to pay a reservation fee to get a slot. So the first building I went to was the music building, but they are kind of opening later than the engineering building where IS is. So in my head I was like, okay, I'll just visit the music building later. Maybe I can, have a check at information systems building. So to make the long story short,
one eternity later,
one of the crew approached me. Then he looked at my report card way back in high school and he saw that I got a good grade in math. I think that was around 96 out of 100 or 97 out of 100. And then right there and then he asked me, hey, we have a slot in information technology and also in computer science. Would you be keen to take any of those? And the innocent 16-year-old.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Then me, since I don't know what to do, I was like, okay, I can take computer science. And then I paid the reservation fee, and then I'm in. So in the beginning, I really don't know what I want. I really don't know what I want to do. But here's my takeaway. It's okay if you haven't figured your shit out yet. Because who knows what they want when they were 16 or 17? No one knows. Maybe only the gifted ones, right? But yeah, and if you're someone who is starting out, making the jump or whatever, it's all natural if you really don't know what you want to do. Because all you have to do is to start. And maybe that's where you'll find your first spark, which is my chapter 2, the first spark. And in this chapter, this is where I will unpack what actually made me move or consider design. So I got into the design through a friend of mine who was selling pins made out of bottle caps. So she was selling them in bazaars. She's painting or drawing on them and then sells them online bazaars and on different night markets. So I got actually really inspired by it. That's why I'd say that the first form of art or design for me was doodling. So I made a business out of that, that art. I actually bought some shirts and shoes. I painted on them. I have drawn on them and sold them online and also bazaars. So I would say that moment in my life was the eureka moment. It was an aha moment for me. And I told myself that, you know what, I can actually do this. I can make money out of this. Until I graduated from uni, and then one of my batchmates actually wanted to create or build their own website services company. And because he knows that I'm someone who's passionate about design, he knows that I'm doodling and having this side hustle business, he was like, "Hey Riel, do you mind being our web designer?" And I was like, hell yeah. So I'd say that moment was when my career shift started. So I want to read this really good quote from Austin Kleon. He says, "Be curious about the world in which you live. Look things up. Chase down every reference. Go deeper than anybody else. That's how you'll get ahead." And just looking back in this chapter of my life, which is the first spark, I was just really curious about my friend's work, to the point that I have to look it up online, look for sample doodles, sample monsters, or caricatures, creatures, and I copied every bits and pieces of it, from the hair, from the structure of the monster, the face, the nose, the ears, the mouth, and whatsoever. And I wasn't really bothered if I'm good at what I'm doing. All I have in mind was that I just have to start. I just have to continue creating this over and over again. I was just basically curious. And maybe for you, all you have to do now is to be curious and open up yourself to the possibilities. And who knows, you might even find your first spark. So when the website services company started, I freaking don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. Like, what is Photoshop? Because back during that time, there's no such thing as UX designer nor product designer. We were called web designers, and all I did was to create, websites, web pages. And Photoshop? What's that? But at the time, there's only one thing I know that I have to do, and that is to let go of my acrylic paints and brushes, so that I can embrace fully this new territory of Photoshop and web designing. So that's why in this chapter of my journey, I'd say that I call it the grind, because literally, night and day, the moment I walk out of my room, I go straight to my desk, open my laptop, and just go around the internet searching for beautiful websites, mobile responsiveness, how to use Photoshop. Like, I always go to awards.com and bookmark every single website that I see was good. So that's why I was able to create the formula which I have in my other video, which was copy, steal, and make it better. I copied everything I saw was good, I stole the thinking behind it, and I was able to create my own original work by mixing and matching everything. So maybe I just want to share how my previous work looked like. Like, it's very cringy, but this is the first work that I did. It was something that is like just a side project, so that I can be familiarized with Photoshop. And then the next one is my very first project where I had a client. So that thing really looks ugly, I know. It looks fucked up. But I just went through a series of revisions, iterations, and then this is the final output. There's some kind of improvement, right? So my takeaway for this third chapter, which is the grind, is that happiness is a struggle. And real why? Because it made me look back to those days wherein I was thinking about music and also computer science. I realized that if I continue with music, spending 8 hours a day going through the same notes, same patterns, understanding different musicians' life, is it something that I'll be happy doing for the next years? And also, are the struggles that comes with that degree, will I find joy in them? And it's the same question I had with computer science. If I continue debugging codes, understanding different kinds of loop, for loops, while loop, endless loop, infinite loop, like these are the struggles that comes with that degree. But will I be happy? And so when I look at product design, I realize that actually, no matter how many revisions, no matter how many angry clients I get, but the fact that I found myself really enjoying going through the process, it makes me realize that, this is something that I really want to do. So as I continued the grind, I was able to learn heaps of things. I was able to get my hands dirty into the world of product design. And then I started thinking, what if I share everything I learned to the world? What if I write about these things? So just a bit of a background, when I was in high school, I was part of a writing club. And I really do love to write. But the thing is that I'm not as good as everyone else. English is not my first language. My subject-verb agreement doesn't agree most of the time. And my writing style is too boring. In short, how I write is just so meh. It's just so bad. But then, I also had moments wherein if I don't start, I will never get better at writing. And so I found Medium, and then I was like, okay, I'll go to Medium, create an account, start writing things that I'm really interested about, which is product design, and then share this to the people that are also might be interested in product design. And lo and behold, after a few years,
One eternity later.
there was one particular article that I wrote that went viral. I think now it has 70,000 or 80,000 claps. I really don't know. But that article paved the way for me to work overseas. That article opened the gates for me to experience the bigger or the other side of product design. So if you're thinking about showing your work, you don't have to wait for the stars to align for you to be great. The gap is not how far you are from achieving greatness. The real gap is between doing nothing and doing something. So I'd say start showing your work, whether it's half-baked or well-crafted. Share the process because that's what people are after for. And also, if you feel like you're faking it, so be it. Fake it until you become it. Until you become that person that you want to be. And that can only happen by showing your work. And now it's the fifth chapter, which is the microshift. And I know I look brighter because I turned on the light. It's kind of getting darker, but it's just, what time is it? 1:51 p.m. Anyway, transitioning is fucking hard, I'd say. I remember the times when I was making the move from computer science to product design. The feeling is kind of different. Not kind of different. But the feeling I had at those moments was the feeling of uncertainty and the feeling of being uncomfortable. And maybe because the main reason of why I felt that way was that I'm about to enter to a new territory that is obviously unknown to me. And all that I wanted at that time was a breakthrough. That big bang, that flash of brilliance wherein all of my insecurities stupidity will just vanish away. And I'll be able to create a kick-ass website or mobile app. But the thing is that the breakthrough will never come. It will never happen. Because what I needed and what we needed is a microshift. And from the book, The Mountain Is You, it says, microshift is a tiny increment of change in your habits and life. You don't need to wait until you feel like doing it. All you need is to make one microshift at a time and then let the energy momentum build. So I'd say if you're someone who is about to make that jump, or someone who is about to make that career shift that you've been wanting to, the reality is that the road or the journey won't be full of confettis and fireworks. Nope. It will be a ride of learning and unlearning, failing and getting back up, making it and faking it, again and again and again. And I know you'll have those days where you'll ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Is there a future in this? What should I do next? Am I in the right path? And the list could go on and on and on. And it's fine. But I hope you won't get hindered by those questions that you keep asking yourself. If there's one thing or one habit that microshift taught me during those days, it would be the habit of showing up. Just kick your ass and show up every day and do what you have to do. Because at some point you're gonna thank yourself and say that, hey, good thing that you showed up. And yep, that's the 5 chapters of my journey of how I became a product designer when I'm supposed to be a software engineer. I hope you learned something from that, and I actually enjoyed doing this kind of new type of content, just sitting down here and do some storytelling. But in the next coming videos, maybe I want to share a little bit more technical of like what are the things you have to do to get that product design role, or what are the things you have to do when you're transitioning to a product designer role. And that would be about portfolio, design critique, whiteboarding session, how to prepare for an interview, and so on and so forth. So thank you folks, and if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll watch the other ones as well. So ciao!